Hi, I'm Nicholas Prom. You're listening to the Comic Book Podcast. I'm here with Daniel Young
Hi.
and Chase Smith.
What's up?
And our first topic today, we are going to talk about the this book. You guys heard about this, the upcoming Avengers versus X-Men limited series or crossover. Um, yeah. What are some thoughts on this, Daniel?
So I'm a little interested in Hope's character. Trying to go back and figure out some more stuff about her. Um, as far as Avengers meeting up with X Men, like I don't know, I'm not a big fan of crossovers in general,
Hmm.
but I really do love X Men, so I'm a little interested to see what they're gonna do with it.
Okay, Chase.
Well, it's all been done before, but what are you gonna do? You can sit back and enjoy the ride, and that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. Um, I've never been a huge X-Men fan. Avengers can't go wrong. I mean, they have gone wrong, but I don't know. I mean, if I had to pick a side, obviously I'm gonna stick with the Avengers, but it's not gonna be like, oh, the Avengers are just gonna wipe out the X-Men, or the X-Men are gonna try and it's a team up. It's not a versus. There's gonna be one or two scraps like between the Hulk and Colossus, and then we're good. And then wait, we have to fight the threat that's coming our way.
And yet there's a lot of tension there as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I mean, egos flare and all that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Just an
Yeah.
overall.
Okay, you kind of talked about this, like, oh, you're gonna enjoy the ride, but like, I'm not sure if this is a ride that I want to get on.
Yeah.
I think I've been on this ride before. They did the Avengers fought the X-Men a couple times in the '60s. They had the limited series in the '80s. We've had this, and we've had this better. It's like the Marvel Comics cliche of, oh, when two superheroes or two groups of heroes meet, they fight because the other one thinks they're villains or something, or like, wait, you don't understand what's going on. That thing.
They have no awareness of each other in their own universe. It seems like
Yeah,
you think
or
they
it's
would.
always an excuse for a fight. Because,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and that's fun, but you can only really do that a couple times, and they're like, okay, yeah, what? Why are you fighting now? To me, this is a contrivance. It's like,
Yeah.
this just screams of another cash grab. It's a pointless story. Like, okay, you're going to have the Phoenix Y is coming to Earth to get. Okay, I get it. Jean's granddaughter. Okay, what? Why? And
Why
why?
not? Why not Rachel? I mean, isn't she?
I don't even know what happened to Rachel.
She's supposed to be in here somewhere, I think.
Who
But,
knows? But here's the thing. Why are the X-Men going to fight over and the Avengers going to fight over this? Huh?
yeah,
And why do I care? It just doesn't, doesn't sit right.
I don't know. I think it's just the whole the title's misleading again. The whole versus thing. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I'm pretty sure there's enough in the news for one organization to be aware of the other, but then yeah, like you said earlier, the egos are gonna they're gonna butt heads.
Well, yeah, this is a comic like there's all this history,
Yeah,
and they clearly have had a relationship over the years. And what they're going to fight over this?
it's maybe one side wants to control the Phoenix, while the other side wants to obliterate it because Scott's all pissed that his wife.
Or the comic hinted towards the end that
Oh yeah, the preview book.
Wolverine
The preview book, yeah.
Wolverine might not want to kill the Phoenix, and
Oh
yet
yeah.
and yet he is probably the only one who can do so.
But see, it's a force of nature or magic or something, and like so you can't. You can't really kill it. It's like a repellent, like Galactus.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Hey, don't. Yeah.
Although they came close with Galactus.
Yeah.
Uh, that was a great story, the trial of Galactus. We'll get to that some other time. But yeah, I don't get it. I guess Hope is supposed to be the savior of the mutants. I'm like,
Mutant
huh?
Messiah, and it's like, who?
What?
Why?
Yeah, how do you fight a force of nature? Can you kill a force of nature? Should you?
Well, I guess that could be a moral plot point that comes up later on in the series and whatnot. But it just I'm gonna have to agree with Nick. Just it's contrived. It's all just it's all been done before. There's no reason they couldn't think of another being to come back or like.
Yeah.
There's a bunch they could. Yeah, well, you said Galactus. Thanos could have been the thing that they teamed up.
They
to
couldn't
beat
think of-
back.
A person, it was like, but it's like they're fighting over like, oh, should it come and get her or no? It's like, the Avengers should be wearing, and everybody should be like, let's get the Phoenix Force out of here. We know it's bad news.
Yeah, yeah.
How is the Phoenix coming to get Hope going to be good for anybody? And why? I don't understand what the contention is going to be about. So, to me, it's just from Malarkey.com. I just don't buy this. It's going to be a waste of John Romita Jr. art, which is a shame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just think pass. And why is Namor in the X-Men? I remember back in the... Hang on.
Go for it.
I remember back in the 90s, they started pimping Namor's new solo book that they put out, the Marvel's first mutant. And it was like, how does a half-breed make him a mutant? That's like saying, I read a book about skiing, now I'm, the ski master. This is a terrible
analogy. So the Avengers are mutants now?
Well, no, like
Captain America
No.
is definitely not a mutant.
Yeah, just because of somehow birth you have superpowers, that doesn't make you a mutant. The Inhumans aren't mutants.
Yeah.
So Namor is like your half Atlantean. They're not mutants. Humans are not mutants. No.
They couldn't think of any
Why is
better
he
plot.
in the X-Men? Yeah. I like him. He should be an Avenger.
Well, actually, what I was thinking was...
And they shouldn't have X-Men in Avengers like Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly. But I was thinking, why not have a surprise appearance by the Defenders? Because they got Beast in there and Namor and a couple of the other.
Well, the Hulk. I mean, Doctor Strange isn't around, but he will be running.
Yeah, but they pop up surprise suckers.
The thing is about the Defenders was though, it was always such a non-team.
Yeah.
They just kind of grabbed random guys who kind of show up and we'd just be fighting this menace. And it would mostly be Stephen Strange and Namor or the Hulk, and it was always kind of a rotating kind of lineup. So, but yeah, this book's. I'm not going to be interested in this. I'd love to be wrong. Maybe I'll probably wait for the trade on this.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, it turns out you're wrong. It's like,
wow,
that was a great piece of literature.
Well, here's the thing. Just when you thought Marvel finally got the picture how to do event books right, like House of M, Secret Invasion, Civil War, these were great. This stacks up with the great DC books that they've been doing the past few years. But, oh wait, this is just another stupid crossover like the millions of ones they did in the 90s. Oh, across these... Well, no, this is a limited series, but you remember all across these 5 series, this...
Yeah.
Parts of... just awful. Wow. Extinction Agenda, Phalanx coming, and all that garbage. So, Inferno was good, but that was the first one.
Extinction.
It's like it became more about the PR, how you could sell the comic rather than
absolutely.
The story.
Well, yeah, it's just it goes back to when they did Secret Wars, to sell a toy line. Well, they did, but here's the thing: it's they didn't have to make a canonical story, and that was the mistake. DC did the Superpowers limited series to sell the Superpowers collection, but those weren't canon. And they were just kind of juvenile fun and whatever. And then we moved on. We have to live with Secret Wars forever. And everything that's coming this week. I mean, it's kind of the turning point of Marvel being great to Marvel being crap. Secret Point is the last bit of fun squeezed out. There are some other fun stories here and there, but it's as the leader of great narrative comic books, they were done at that point. Jim Shooter put the nail in the coffin with Secret Wars 2.
Oh, jeez.
He is the Dan Jurgens of Marvel Comics.
Ooh, Dan Jurgens.
So, but anyway, okay. So kind of wrapping this back up, but as a fun little thing, I thought we'd go. How about your worst Avenger, worst X-Men? How about you got?
Well, okay. Well, I could go the easy route and say Maggot. I could go the even easier route and say Gambit. But are we saying least favorite or just most despised? Or
that you don't like.
That
this is you.
Don't like.
You.
Dude, I have okay.
Or you just think they're lame.
I have never liked Cyclops. Ever.
I liked him during the John Byrne years.
I couldn't. I don't care.
Yeah.
I do not care. He's okay. The leader of the X-Men. He's got this tortured story, this fractured family. Yeah. Very fractured family.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, I can get behind some aspects of the character, but just for some reason, I have never been able to get into him as a character. Any story involving him in like the top tier, just like oh he's the main character of this story, I just can't. I look at it and I go, okay, I'll give it a shot. It usually lasts an issue and I toss it aside.
I'm on par with you.
I
with
feel
that.
you.
Yeah,
Like
so-
for all of the bad boy characterization of Wolverine, Cyclops is even more of a jerk. Like really, really, when you really look into the things he says and the things he does, he's almost like putting on the good boy mask.
Well, he's embittered through everything that's just happened to him. Like he didn't know who his dad was. Or actually, no, his dad like disappeared on him or something like that. Wasn't it?
No, his folks were kidnapped by the Shi'ar.
Well, I know
remember?
that, but like from his perspective, it was like
Well,
did
right.
he know them or like they were just gone.
Yeah.
And then his brother disappeared for a while and came back as Havoc. And then his direct descendants on that line, like, man, try figuring that crap out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he's a very bitter dude, and I get that a lot of things that he does are actually very selfish. They're very self-motivated, and that's another reason I get it. I don't care.
Yeah, he does kind of come be like a victim a lot.
Yeah.
But then I'm in charge,
Yeah.
So the thing about Cyclops is I enjoyed him in the early in the 60s because he was like leading and he was like struggling to be that role, and then like with the all new all different X-Men that came out in 75, he was like he was the veteran teaching this new team, and they were it was classic Marvel Comics, the fight, arguing and all that stuff, and he was good. And then Jean died and he was like shattered, and he was just like Storm came in and led the team, and he was just kind of there, and that like struggling with that. This was good reading, folks. But no, Cyclops as a character is played out.
But then it was like past that point, they keep coming back to that. They don't really seem to let him grow as a character. He's this melancholy just character who
Characters
just annoys the crap.
Some characters need to like have an expiration date, die, and stay dead.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's an interesting thing, which the video you showed me kind of.
Let's get a little back up on that.
Yeah.
Daniel's talking about this viral video that's making fun of the death of Superman and the reign of the Superman. Great stuff.
Very good.
Oh,
Very
man.
well done. Great cameos.
Yeah.
A lot of criticism on the comments though.
I noticed that there's a lot of people like, you know what he's talking about that.
Like, no, he really does know what he's talking. There was a few things I'm like, you missed. That's not quite correct.
Yeah.
But they were kind of minor details. The opinion thing was like, yeah, you were right on the money. I'm gonna have to post a link to that on the page.
Probably a good idea.
But just for context. But yeah, go ahead, Daniel. Sorry.
I forget where I was.
You're bringing up how.
The death of Superman. It's like then he comes back and it's like, okay, now death is like. Pfft.
Right. So. I think that because superheroes don't have an expiration date anymore.
Yeah.
That gives liberty to the publications to run with characters until they can't say anything else.
Well, right. Or like, use death as a plot device. Oh, okay, but it has no meaning because it's like they'll do a couple years later, like, surprise, he wasn't really dead.
It's on par with kidnapping a character now. It's like, oh, they'll be back. Like you snatch Jubilee, fine, whoever, some like minor character. Oh, now all the spotlight's on this character. Like, she disappeared. What's going on? Nobody knows what happened to her. And that might arouse interest a little bit. And then once the interest is aroused, she actually went to Vegas with some friends for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even mourn the characters anymore.
Well, right. I mean, it's like, look, how they did with the Flash and Hawkman. Carter Hall was dead for a while. Okay, Oliver Queen was dead for a long time. Barry Allen was dead for like 15, 16 years. That's like, well, okay, and it's cool that they're back.
Yeah. Whenever they want to kill a character, why don't they bring a different one in?
Give them a decade.
Someone take up the mantle.
Right.
Yeah, like Wally became the Flash. And, okay,
exactly.
cool.
What's wrong with that? I mean, I guess there's some characters where you can't, like, there can't be a second Wolverine, like,
Right.
or anything like that.
I liked how they actually brought Hal Jordan back. That was like, okay, you took lemons and made lemonade here, bud. Because everyone wants him to be the Lantern.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Kyle Rayner would never be my Green Lantern.
He had his moments.
He did.
But, yeah, it's like when you think of Green Lantern, you don't think of Scott Allen. I mean, you do think of Scott Allen, you just don't think of him as the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
You don't think of Kyle.
It's Alan Scott.
Oh, jeez, did I really just do my...
You read it? You did the phone book thing is what you did.
I did.
I love that group Blondie with their singer, Harry Deborah. Yeah. Anyway. It's okay. So Cyclops is your... back to that.
Back to that, yes, Cyclops.
Okay.
But,
Daniel. Tangent zone.
Probably Gambit has great power, but flat character.
Yeah, I hate him. I hate him a lot. So, totally lame. He looks like, yeah, somebody you met at a rave, So, anyway, yes. Yeah. Oh.
When I was in high school, I actually carried around a deck of cards because I like to play poker. And one of the guys I played poker with was like, "Do you carry that deck of cards around to be like Gambit?" I emptied the entire deck out his face so that I tackled him. And we wrestled. I didn't hurt him or anything. It was like, them fighting words.
Yeah.
52 card pickup.
Yeah, and yet he is like a favorite character. So many people are like, you know what you're talking about. He's awful.
I understand that like at cons and stuff, and when they put him in the movie, like he's fan service for the female audience and whatnot. It's like, really? Him? He's kind of okay, he's got that sly sort of thing going on, and he's kind of charming. But past that, you're right. Just this two-dimensional character. He's like, I'm a thief who wants to get your pants, and I throw cards.
Yeah, boring. Yeah, exploding playing cards. Hey, I'm gonna throw poppets at you, Apocalypse. This sucks. So, yeah, he's terrible. He was gonna be mine, but I'll pick another one. Okay. I'll just say I really don't like Rogue, but I'll say Jubilee. Cause why? Here's why. She's a poor man's Dazzler who was already a lame X-Man.
Yeah, no.
Point there. No, it's. Yeah, another just like God.
But wait, Dazzler turns sound waves into sparkling.
And now
things.
And Jubilee just makes sparkly things out of nowhere. I'm like, this sucks. Yeah. So.
But wasn't she? I can't remember. Was she a character who was made specifically for the 90s cartoon and then became a comic book character, or was she a comic book character?
She was in the comics. I had Jim Lee X-Men comics in 1991 that had Jubilee and Gambit. And then 93 or 4 was when that series came out. So, yeah, they were totally in the comics.
Wow. It's,
yeah. Sucks. It's too bad. That's too bad.
That's even, it makes more sense now, but that's even worse. It's like, yeah, okay, we have these new characters. Let's go ahead and toss them on the show. And then with some already established characters and, popularity is...
What did you guys think of Sentinels?
I like Sentinels. They're a great character, they're a great thing. And it's cool because there's a menace.
The original Sentinels were like 10 feet tall. Something
they were. And then Kirby Sentinels, yeah.
And then
they got huge.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I always enjoyed the Sentinels. They're great. Man, that X-Men show, it's like, you made an X-Men cartoon show that for so many people was going to define them forever. Yeah. And it's like, half of the roster you chose is like the worst X-Men. You've got Jubilee, Gambit, and Rogue, who are like, ugh, just complete crap. I wouldn't even put Jean on the team. Beast wouldn't have been my choice exactly. I mean, I'm biased.
Yeah.
My X-Men is the all-new, all-different X-Men.
Yeah.
The Wolverine, Nightcrawler, and Colossus, and Banshee, and those guys. That was my X-Men team. Okay, and it's like funny. My favorite X-Men stories weren't even the ones where like we're persecuted by you racists. All that thing is played to death because we're different. It's
Geniusts.
which it's dumb because everybody loves Captain America and superheroes unless you're Jameson, yeah. But yeah, it's kind of a weak premise. I always love their stories where they were like out in space fighting the Brood, or they go to the Savage Land fighting the mutates and dinosaurs and stuff. Those were my X-Men stories I just loved, So, and I like the Sentinels; they're fun, But yeah, so So yeah. So do we want to do the liked Avenger?
Oh, at least like Avenger.
Yeah.
Well, Avenger ever. Let's see. Are we talking like West Coast Avengers, East Coast Avengers?
Any Avenger that you're like, they are lame.
Doorman. No, let's see.
Oh, the Great Lakes Avengers. See, that was like they were all lame on purpose, though.
Yeah, I can't really hold that against them for that. God, let's see. I'm gonna have to pass this one.
We'll
on
go
to
back,
yours.
Daniel.
Well, I know Thor is a good character, but he always seemed just to be a brute to me. Like, whenever I read his comics, he always just, like, he had the hammer, he had super big muscles, and I was like,
Oh.
where's this gonna go ever?
Hmm.
Was my feeling.
See, I always like that he was this imposing guy. He's like this magical guy. He's this, like majestic kind of like he is a god, and he has this nobility. But he's sent to Earth that he's got to learn some to be like, don't be so full of yourself. A little be humble. But I think he's a great noble character. I mean,
I see nobility in there, but as far as a virtue, I don't. It's not something that sparks my interest.
that's okay.
I mean, they have a lot to draw on with him, seeing he's always part of this lore and everything that they can keep pulling characters up from and whatnot. And I've never really had a problem with Thor. I guess the hardest thing about Thor is reading it.
The dialogue? I dug it. The dialogue was wonderful.
I think that's my only complaint with Thor. But I do see how some people are turned off by him.
I love it when he would, like somebody says some towering moment of rage thing, and he's like, "I say thee nay," and like throws a hammer, and he's like goes and like kicks the crap out of him. I just love that. That was awesome.
There's this one I remember reading where he he was under this he's under a spell, and Loki was I'm taking over, and Thor shakes off the spell, launches his hammer in his face, grabs Loki by the head, holds him up, and says, nothing is going to stop my hammer from coming back to my hand. So let's get this curse off me.
Dude, yes, I remember that. That was so awesome. Yes, mighty Mjolnir coming from space to crush Loki's skull. Okay, I guess I'll...
Well, you grab a hard bargain there, Thor.
Yeah. Yeah, and I always like the Tales of Asgard section of that. That is some fun stuff. But, gosh, here's the Avenger that many people may have forgotten. He was one of the Titans, like, from that planet, like Thanos and stuff. Star Fox. And, like, I know he could do other stuff like fly and things, but here the weird thing about him was he had that pleasure power. That, like, he could kind of, like, it was like a pheromone or, like, get you riled up, so to speak.
Right.
And I was like, you're the date rape Avenger. Like, he's like, when I use my powers, I will sex you up. No, you suck. Goodbye.
Maybe they were trying to do a music video with him eventually.
Oh, like start a line of cologne or something.
Yeah, and he's been, I don't know where he went, and I don't care. So,
well, I mean, my personally my least favorite Avenger, I guess, it's going to be another unpopular take on it. But man, Iron Man, he's awesome. With his newfound popularity, I guess is what you could say. But I've never been a fan. I get that he's like I've heard comparisons. He's a Marvel Batman because all he is a billionaire who throws gadgets together and becomes a superhero.
Right.
But he's super smart and all that, and he's obviously tech savvy. He's business savvy and all that. But he is just such a freaking unlikable character. Tony Stark without that friggin' suit is Norman Osborn.
I guess for me that's a part of it that I even play into. It's like I love to hate him.
Really? That's
as a character.
I get you. But I mean, he's an alcoholic and he's a womanizer, and that whole thing. They really played that up in the movies, and whatnot. And but I've seen some good moments with Iron Man, but not many.
Yeah.
It's mostly him being diplomatic. Like those are the best parts with him, where he's talking down, he's telling everybody, "Hey, well, let's take another second and
Shows
take this one
Congress
through."
where to put
Like
it.
the last big scroll thing that happened.
Oh, what Secret Invasion or?
Yeah, I believe so. That's not. All right.
What the
Oh,
hell?
that is me. It's a pillow reminder. I am so sorry.
Okay, we're gonna remember next time. Cell
Yes,
phones off.
Cell phones off.
So, but where's your? Oh, you go ahead.
No.
Oh, I was gonna say add a couple things. I like your comparison with Batman, but the thing that makes Stark less interesting is like, okay, Batman has this like vengeance,
Yeah.
crusading thing. Tony Stark is like, well, I'm just self-made millionaire and blah blah blah. I'm great.
Why not fight crime?
It's like he's
Yeah.
he's bored and he's like, I'm gonna go ahead and
You know?
not join up with the Avengers, I guess, and just defend the planet. I mean,
Yeah.
I've done everything else before noon.
Yeah.
So-
I see that, but Batman also brings up a moral debate about whether being a vigilante for personal reasons is a conflict of interest.
It's any better that he just does it because? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. That's a dance that we could
yeah,
do all day.
Yeah, there we go.
It's a little less too esoteric, and that's not the word I need, but yeah. But oh hell, I had it. There's a second. Oh, thing about I always think it felt about Avengers solo books, like especially Iron Man, are just so dull. Like he's great in a team dynamic where I don't have to see Tony Stark so much in his life and boring.
Yeah.
There's oh cool, we're on missions and stuff. Tony, you got that firepower, whatever. There's stuff there. I love team books for that. Except for X-Men, because they'll do whole issues about people talking about their feelings. It's like that's for solo book, which I don't want to see a solo book for any of them. So, yeah. Okay, hey guys, why don't we talk about some of the comics we read this week?
Okay. I wouldn't mind talking about Lobster Johnson.
Oh yeah, well let's talk about that. I read that too. That's a good one.
I got to tell you, the title misled me. I was thinking we were going to be hearing about crustacean sex organs.
For sure.
But oh man, well no, you remember him from the BPRD, like it's like a Hellboy spinoff, right?
As far as I could tell, yeah, but
Yeah.
I was never a huge Hellboy fan.
Oh,
so
okay, yeah.
But no, he looks it, and the villain in it totally looks it too. But it was a fun read. It was just it was
engaging.
issue number 3, so I didn't really know a whole lot of the backstory. The characters were interesting enough. I also noticed that Massimo, the little mousy sidekick character, kind of looks like Alfred E. Newman. And that got me through the rest of it. It was like, yeah, it's good, but I never really. Oh, hey, look, Mad. Okay, now I'm thinking of something else I'd rather be reading.
What I liked about this was it reminded me of Golden Age comics and of those kinds of heroes, and I think that's the point. It's totally a spy smasher, the Spirit, those kinds of heroes, just like the fist to the jaw. Like mystery men superheroes.
Right.
And that's fun. And then they've got the Hellboy spin on it, so it's like supernatural villainy.
Right.
But he's a guy. Cool.
So
cool.
you kind of just described the Phantom there for a second.
He is very much like the Phantom.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it informs this as well.
Yeah.
So.
But I think it had a lot of the pluses of the Phantom, but it also had not as many of the minuses of the Phantom.
Yeah, the Phantom is like, I don't care about jungle adventure. Can you come to the city and fight crime or something?
This weaves in, the normal detective plot line.
Yeah.
Into, the Golden Age revival.
Yeah, it's a great homage to those hero types. He's kind of borrowing from those a lot of those heroes and doing a very cool thing. And he doesn't feel like a copycat. He's just like, oh, you just fit right in there.
Right.
He's the man for his time. So.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun read.
Yeah, I did too. And that's comics should be good and comics should be fun.
They make you want to read the next issue, which that one did,
Yeah.
if only to find out who the heck everybody is.
Right. That's the kind of sometimes you come in a random issue, and that's always the way. Like when you're a kid, you get that random, you got to go back and figure it out. That's the hook, I think. So yeah.
Let's see. Next, I got some stuff here on. Let's see. Orchid issue number 5.
Yeah, I read that. I got something to say there too, but go ahead.
Um, man, cliche.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the one word review for me is just it's cliched. It's this post-apocalyptic humdrummery.
I was
it is.
focusing more on the art than the plot line.
I enjoyed the art.
Yeah, the art was pretty serviceable. I'm not a huge fan of that particular style, but I mean, you got your characters. You got an ex-prostitute slave sort of character. You got this whiny little. I'm not even sure what his purpose is.
Right. We're a few issues in.
He's Arthur from the Tick. I don't think that's a good idea.
He's Brainy Smurf.
Yeah.
You know, like Papa Smurf says, yeah.
And the old
my worst Brainy Smurf impression, yeah. Okay.
And the old the combat vet, the old soldier, who's this older lady wearing a gardening hat, with a sword, who ends up de-junking this Abe Lincoln looking pimp.
Yeah, that was weird. Her hat kind of made me look like I think of Solomon Kane, which is cool.
Yeah. That probably would have helped things a bit if I would have thought that one.
Yeah, it is a cliche. This is ground that's been tread on time and again in movies and comics.
Oh, yeah.
Even in another limited series I read from Dark Horse, which the name escapes me, but the Gun Masters or something like that. But anyway, no, that was the villains. Doesn't matter. But yeah, it is cliched. But I was like, it's okay as long as it's good. You know, come on. Oh, another superhero book. Like,
yeah.
Okay, that's a
I guess I
cliche.
didn't make that clear. Yeah, it's cliche and boring and bad and everything. In my opinion.
I don't know. I disagreed. I found it an interesting read. Another thing I thought was cool, and it's fine if you don't like it. Go ahead.
I think if you really enjoy post-apocalyptic anything, that this would be engaging.
Yeah.
But it is cliche. I feel like if I were to write anything post-apocalyptic, I would try to make a big effort to try and be original.
Stay away from the stereotypes.
But I mean, like, how do you do that? You kind of have to go with an archetype and try to take your own spin.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Like I said, it wasn't earth-shattering. It felt like something I'd read before.
Maybe it's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine.
Yeah. It's just dandy. Yeah. But what I thought was interesting, I don't know if you guys noticed this, did you take a look at who wrote this? Tom Morello, the one that that Tom Morello, the rock and roller, he wrote this. And I was like, oh, I give a little more credit. It's like, wow, you like heavy metal and comics? Now we can share everything. But
I thought there was a little Rage Against the Machine in there somewhere.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though. It's interesting. He has solos, so he does everything.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a big fan of what he's done musically, but he's an interesting guy when I hear him in interviews and stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. But with each issue of this comic, there's a download code on his page for a special soundtrack that he's wrote and recorded for this.
And it was like cool.
And there was like 2 songs on the website. One was like from his album that he's pimping, and the other one was like exclusive for the comic, and it was like movie. It was like Sergio Leone spaghetti western, cool, like Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, like composed.
That is a great idea, and oh wow, that is really cool. That is mind-bogglingly awesome.
Yeah, each issue has a download code, so you got to buy the issue, but you get the series, and then you've got a soundtrack to it.
Cool.
Burn the CD or make a playlist and go reread it. Like da-na-na. I bet it'd be totally epic. I enjoyed the song. And I wish I'd have taken the time and go back and read the comic along with it. Just had it on loop. But that was cool. I liked that. That's a neat idea. I'd like to see more people do things like that.
I agree on that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. What else are we talking about? Comics we're reading?
We did a Dark Matter one.
Dark Matter issue 3.
Which seemed to me just to be like a watered down Firefly.
Which I haven't seen Firefly, but I get, yeah.
I dug it. That was probably, out of the comics we talked about so far, probably my favorite. Best written, some amnesia-stricken mercs. The crew's looking for their memory, who did it to them, trying to figure out who they are exactly.
And then they find out they're bad
and
guys?
They find out they're bad guys, and it's like, that's kind of, I mean, it's been done, but I mean, it's still kind of, it's still an interesting twist.
I know seen that somewhere, but I don't remember where.
I've seen a couple of movies, but
I swear I saw a superhero story too, where like some supervillains were like did the right thing because they forgot they were evil.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I've seen
Or-
that happens in a movie.
Suspect Zero.
Oh, you know what? Actually, it was in Cowboys and Aliens. Dude, you know, Daniel Craig. I mean, Steve McQueen. But yeah.
It's his birthday today, by the way.
Oh, well, happy birthday, Steve McQueen. I thought you said Daniel Craig.
This is your birthday song. It isn't very long. It's
Okay.
long.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I'd like to see where they're going to go with that
They're
series.
a cool, like, old western sort of town that they end up moseying on into, wearing all, you know...
Are you talking about Dark Matter?
I'm still talking about
Oh,
Dark
okay.
Matter, yeah. I thought that... Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, yeah, they're wearing their outfit, their spacer outfits, the rifles and whatnot, all strapped to them. They walk into their the saloon and they end up getting accosted by these like I don't know, Federation soldiers or something. They're tracking them down.
Corporation.
Federation. Yeah.
Corporation.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I'm just joking. I'm just playing.
It's all good. But yeah, like and they know who the guys who walk in know who the mercs are.
But the
And
mercs don't.
The mercs don't still, and they end up getting into a little bit of a bloody battle over that. And it was kind of cool. That it was like I was thinking this was going to be another talkie. Oh, look, some action, cool, and then it goes right back to the talking, and which it was written well enough to the point where I was still engaged. I was interested. I wanted to know what was going on. But it was nice to have that little oh look, you're missing a hand sort of moment. So,
Okay. So.
I thought I think the biggest plus for me was weapons were really handled well in the comic.
Oh, how do you mean, Dana?
So there's the guy with the double swords, and like when he you know gets angry that the guy is like touching his shoulder, and then it comes out like the next page, like suddenly you see a hand on the floor, and then he's there standing up with a bloody blade, and like that was really well done.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I said, it just overall seems watered down as compared to a bunch of other things to me.
And that's okay too.
Let's see. Up next, we got the Immortal Demon in the Blood. It's issue number 3.
Okay.
Also by Dark Horse. As you mentioned. All these so far have been.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean, hey, we are actually in the hub of comicdom in the Northwest, just down the road from Dark Horse Comics and Things from Another World.
Man.
So I think it's appropriate that we
something to be proud of.
talk about the hometown boys. So go ahead, Chase. I'm sorry.
I know, it's all good. Let's see. This one, I honestly I couldn't follow the story very well. I did like, however, the first 4 pages. This really intimate, almost tender moment between a concubine and a tattoo artist. The concubine has been she's owned,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy who owns her paid for her to get a tattoo so he could show off to all of his friends. And also, look what I bought on my little little thing here. But there's this and there isn't a lot of dialogue between the two characters, but the way that they're drawn and the proximity, the way that they're shown getting closer and closer together without actually moving, is just kind of it's a perspective thing. Really well done.
I liked it. It was kind of a tender and kind of thing. You know, she as a person was property, and basically in her home setting, her she doesn't whatever.
Yeah.
She's identifying or feels something for this guy, and yeah, I think that it was just beautiful.
He wasn't treating her like an object. He was treating her like a person and not just a client. You know, she was mentioning how delicately he handles her, and since she is in the situation she's in, she's not used to being handled delicately.
Right.
And
and that's attractive.
You know, it's very
and she offers herself to him, and as a
and
gentleman, he declines.
He declines, and it's like that's great to see too. It doesn't have to go on to the sort of stuff. It's,
Exactly.
Yeah, but then past that, I lost interest.
Why are you immortal? You got another evil immortal
You've got
guy.
a demon inside you.
Yeah.
What? Probably because
But
I don't like Japanese culture. All that stuff is boring to me.
Well, no, I dig it. I'm more or less a Japanophile, not as much as some people out there.
I
Yeah.
feel first reading it, I felt the same way that oh, this is just another stereotypical Japanese story. But then I reread it, um, rereading it, I caught on a lot more to what it was actually discussing in the comic, which was his struggling with, did his decision to be immortal, does he actually regret it? Like he's not sure,
Yeah.
which was interesting for me.
Yeah. And in other stories where someone gains immortality or is immortal and or whatever, you'll see that over the centuries they hate it. They're restless. They kind of want life to
Right,
end.
but this guy's he's not there yet.
Right. He hasn't been immortal that long.
Right.
Like he's lived maybe a little beyond one lifetime, and he's still kind of like digging it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that you never see that. You always see like the sad Highlander, or like the sad Dracula. This is like, yeah,
I'm
kind
living the
of.
life. Like,
Yeah.
why would I not drink this immortal juice every day?
The consequences haven't hit home yet.
We as an audience know that they're coming, but until then, whee!
Yeah, there's the deeper implications of immortality haven't set in, and so that's interesting to get that.
Yeah.
So from reading a perspective of someone writing that, I'm like, wow, cool. Thank you for showing us that.
It's showing us the interesting side of being immortal as opposed to the morose.
Yeah. Well, which is good, but it's been done.
It's been done, yeah.
And it's, I think Solomon Kane was another immortal. He was a wandering immortal, but it's the morose immortal is good, but it's good to see this as well.
Yeah,
because this informs that later, and that's great. So, Chase, were you?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. That's all I had for that one. But moving on, we got Conan the Barbarian, number 2. Yet another. Oh, let's see.
Of a limited series. They're always in limited series.
Queen of the Black Coast Part 2. So
yes,
interesting there in the sense that I have no clue what's going on. It's another Conan story.
Okay, so I don't have a lot of background reading Conan, but I really do dig it because it goes into Greek myth, and there is a lot of like historical tidbits during the whole time that I can latch onto.
Even though Hyperborea and all this stuff is a made up history.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right, like in another issue, there's like Solomon's ring.
Oh yeah.
So like, and this one is she a harpy or like?
Which one are we looking at again?
Queen of the Black Coast.
Oh, that with the pirate chick.
Yeah.
She's like a pirate queen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I wasn't so sure about that, but I definitely caught a lot of like the hidden mythology that went into it. And this story specifically is a flashback for Conan of his younger days because he meets her again at the beginning. I'm not. Yes, I believe that's right.
Okay. For a second, you confused me because Dark Horse they do all these Conan books, but they're at several points in his life. There's like the barbarian wandering period. There's this Conan the Cimmerian where he's like the mercenary, and then Conan the King.
Right.
Later. So yeah, and then they just do all stories from those periods. So yeah.
Which is interesting. There was a continuous like how to shoot a bow kind of thing in it, which I thought was incredibly interesting and like trying to get into the mindset of a warrior, which I thought was interesting and necessary, really, to get into this comic at all.
Okay. Yeah, I read it. I dug it. I read a bunch of Dark Horse's Conan stuff, and I'm like, wow, I always enjoy it. It's always a fun read. Even if I might come in at a random issue, I'm like, cool, Conan's such a great character. like I can just go.
And like I used to think that because of the way his body is drawn, musculature, that he would also be a brute, but he's really not, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, it's like he's not like school education, but this guy is like so full of life and like doesn't take any crap, but he has honor. He's really an amazing character.
Yeah.
You know, and that's probably why he's lasted so long in, various media,
Yeah.
since his inception in what, like the 20s or 30s when Robert E. Howard was writing him. Yeah. Jason's nodding at me.
There's
You can hear the nodding.
Yeah, we hear the nodding.
the movie coming out on Conan. I hope they don't mess him up.
Wait, that one that just came out?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. People keep telling me it's good, so
I've heard good things about it, but it's. Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't go. I think I don't know. That's a question for another day. Yeah, what else are you reading what have you been reading this week, Daniel?
I did Superman issue number 1.
Which one? The Superman number or Action Comics number 1?
It was Superman number 1 by the 12-year-old and the 14-year-old who got together in New York and drew Superman. It was like the first superhero comic.
Yeah. Talking about Action Comics number 1.
Yes.
This is the debut of Superman. Okay. So you read a reprint of that. Good
Yep.
stuff. Classic stuff.
In addition, in the same comic was
Zatara. Love Zatara. I remember him.
One of the things that really struck me about Zatara was that it almost seemed Caravaggio influenced, which is a painter post-Renaissance who invented his own style. He's like, hey, everyone is doing,
So you're saying the art was
stucco.
Caravaggio? So?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was very Caravaggio because he does black backgrounds with bold colors in the foreground and really, really dramatic action.
Mm-hmm.
Very formulaic, and he had a lot of followers in, I forget when, probably 1400s-ish.
Wow.
Yeah, but that really struck me. And then, even though I could see the cliche plot of Zatara, it fit in perfectly with Caravaggio.
Sure. And let me say that, 19, I think it was 37 or 39 when, that Action Comics debuted. I mean, comic books, as a medium, sequential art was still really new. And I think it's easy to say probably Caravaggio was an influence, especially because as the way you described it, that sounds like that's the way you do this for these great 4-color adventures, is to do it in that way. But they don't have a Jack Kirby or a John Byrne to be influenced by, so they're going to draw from classic artists. So I think that's a natural there. But yeah, and Zatara's a great character. I love how a lot of times these Golden Age characters that would be introduced, the story starts as if they've been around for a while. They're not doing it the origin story. It's, we were around for like another adventure. It's your first one, But it makes you think, oh, cool, this guy, all right, he already knows what's up,
Right.
I like that, and I've noticed that, and I've been reading a lot of Golden Age comics out here lately too. Great stuff. So cool.
And back to the Superman issue number 1. I think it's really kind of funny to me going back and seeing, he can leap 1/8 of a building.
Yeah.
Like he didn't learn to fly, or he wasn't given the ability to fly. Like, wasn't a couple issues in, or wasn't it?
It's much later.
It's
much later.
And
it kind of
also,
developed. The leaping developed into flight.
He's only bulletproof if it's not point blank.
What?
It said
somewhere I remember reading that too. Then if they get him right in the chest, like a foot away, something like that. It'll hurt him, but it won't kill him or something like that.
Yeah.
But like you see him a couple panels earlier rather, he's getting a shot. And it's like that's pretty up close. I mean,
and they kept breaking. Oh yeah, because it was a baby.
Oh, sorry, Doc. Don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And And also like the action of it was just atrocious by comparison. He goes to the mayor's home during the night, like
Was the governor
the governor. Okay,
to get that pardon for somebody?
the butler's like, "What the heck are you doing here?" He picks up the butler, goes to the governor's room, breaks down the steel door.
Yeah.
Yeah. and basically like, "Oh, you won't do what I say? Well, look how strong I am." And then everyone goes, "Ooh, okay, I'm listening."
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna have to have a heck of a talk with the police chief later. You were loose cannon, Kal-El.
Oh man. And so Superman and and all of it. I mean, just in general, superhero comics have really changed a lot since then. And it's like, I think we were talking the other day. I was saying like there's a story, like Golden Age superheroes would kill people all the time, and you would see them like without hesitating, like, okay, he was a bad guy, we killed him. They drop him, whatever.
You can't do that anymore, though.
Well, that's the comics code that came in later, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, there's a story like an old Superman story, like somebody fires a Tommy gun at him, and then Superman grabs the guy and throws him in front of the bullets he just fired.
Awesome.
Totally awesome. And like, what?
If you had superpowers, like, why not?
It's like, think of all sorts of inventive ways to kill people.
Exactly. So here's something. Here's a comic that I read this week. I read. I'll go back. This is an old comic I was reading. In the 70s, DC did those great 100-page super spectaculars. They're like, we got to be even better than the 80-page giant. They're competing with themselves. Yeah. And it was cool though. And they did it for a year or so. Or more. I'm not sure, but they would have like the lead story would be new, and then the rest would be like reprinted classic stuff, and like stuff that would be harder to get.
Yeah.
They didn't have trade paperbacks yet, and so this one is like this issue was kind of had a theme. It's all like Batman's trophy. It's like where do we get the giant penny and the dinosaur?
Very cool.
Yeah, and so these are like stories from like the 40s or whatever, but like the late 40s. And I read, Dinosaur Island. This is the one where he gets the dinosaur, okay? And I got a problem with this story. In that, there's a guy he wants to, he creates theme parks, and he's like, oh man, what's my next thing? Dinosaurs, that's it. I'll make the robot dinosaurs, and we'll have them radio controlled, and people will love it. Okay, some guy that wants to get him out of the way and take his money is like, oh, I don't know, And they're like, well, we'll have a bet, and we'll see if the Batman could survive a day on Dinosaur Island with no weapons.
It's like DC Arcade.
Well, that's way before that. But here's the thing, and it was supposed to be a game of touch football. They weren't really gonna hurt him. But then the guy who created the theme park, he gets knocked out by the bad guy, and the bad guy's really trying to kill Batman. But it's just the whole thing was the setup was do it as a bet, and then and then we'll donate this money to charity if you participate, Batman. Whatever. Batman wins and he gets a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Back up. Why is Batman taking time away from fighting crime and saving lives to go settle a bet so some guy will give $5,000 in charity?
He could give that at any point.
Exactly. He's a millionaire, multi-millionaire. It's how about I just do this?
Yeah.
No, that's dorky. I'm gonna go fight crime, and then he do some charity. So to me,
that's Robin.
Yeah. Which is another. It's who brings a child out with them to haha, this is fun. I'm
going to teach you that vengeance on your parents' killer is wrong. So here, beat up this bank robber.
Yeah.
I don't see the growth of it.
Yeah. So
it kind of sets up Robin to fall eventually, which they did.
It depends on which one you're talking about, but.
What you talking about, Willis?
The one whose parents died.
The one?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
all of them. How about that?
Do we have anything else for?
I was gonna mention. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but the Green Arrow, the TV show that they got going for him on the CW possibly here in the future.
Really?
Yeah, don't get excited. It's not gonna be based on the comics. It's gonna be Ollie
new
just and like a fully writing team, like overdone, overlorded by the CW network and whatnot. So I think we all bow our heads in a moment of
A boo.
just oh my god, really? Why?
Well, at least they didn't do that Aquaman show. At least that
Yeah.
didn't happen.
But,
I would at least want to see the pilot of the Wonder Woman show they were talking about. They're like, oh, it's so bad. I'm like, well, let us see. You filmed episodes, air them. You know? I don't know. That's crap to me. So, we got the Avengers movie and the Dark Knight coming out very soon. We've got to do field trips and do that. And we'll do the special podcast as our talking with spoilers, gang.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, to break those down. So that should be fun. Unless you guys have anything else, I think it's about time to wrap it up, guys.
No, I'm good.
No, we're good. All right, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to catch us next week. And, same bat time, same bat channel.